Days are shorter, nights are longer, which only means one thing: we are entering the holiday season. At para dun sa mga samahan ng malalamig ang Pasko, yan, welcome to the club. But if you just broke up with your ex and you feel like there's something there, or maybe you still want to make it work, did you know that you can text your ex back? Well, that's according to the relationship expert that we interviewed not too long ago. Here are his tips. Mike, thank you for joining us today on Kababayan LA. So do we call you like a dating expert?
They call me a relationship expert. I don't know. I've written some books that have gone on Amazon and are Amazon best-selling things. I've been on TV for stuff. I just call myself a guy who tries to help people have better relationships.
Nonetheless, thank you so much for coming on the show, because I talk about relationships here, and I've always featured it and discussed it from the perspective of women, because there's a lot of women authors out there.
Oh, yes.
And the public is asking, you know, how come you're not featuring men? You're not, you know, and we need to get this from the point of view of men as well.
It's a very different perspective, that's for sure.
Yes, so let's talk about breakups.
Let's talk about breakups, yes.
Common mistakes that people make during a breakup or before. Do you sense breakups? We do, right?
Yeah, when they're coming, most of the time. Most people can kind of figure it out. They kind of see the writing on the wall in some way, or they just desperately try to deny it. Right. They're like in a relationship, it's going wrong in some way.
So you're saying that there's always signs.
There's always some kind of sign.
It's just a matter of whether we accept it or we deny it.
And if you don't want it to be there, it's very easy to pretend it's not there, right?
And but you're saying that, okay, a breakup happens. You're saying that you should not despair because things can still be salvaged.
Things can be great. And the thing, we have a program called Text Your Ex Back that we do, which is a program about helping people get their ex-girlfriend, their ex-boyfriend, their ex-husband, their ex-wife back using tiny little text messages sent from their cell phone, right? Which is pretty fun, very effective. I think we've sold over 20,000 copies of that program or something like that. And one of the biggest things we talk about in that program is that the big mistake people make when they break up with somebody or are broken up with and want them back is they try to get that same relationship back, right? They start thinking about, can I make things go back to the way they were when we first started dating, when things were good, we first got married, and you can't.
You can't.
That relationship is, as I say, dead, right? Generally speaking, if a relationship actually ends, it ends for a reason. Either communication is broken down, or there's infidelity, or a million different things kind of happen. And what I always advise people to do is you basically have to mourn that old relationship, let that old relationship go, and then work on, if you really want that same person back, work on bringing yourself back to being a more attractive, more confident, more, not needy person. Neediness is devastating to relationships.
Can you give us example of what to text?
Sure.
And is it the same for men and women?
It follows the same formula. And one of the things we talk about in Text Your Ex Back is when you first get the program, I actually force you not to text anything for a month, for 30 full days. You have to have no contact at all with your ex. None whatsoever. And that's more for you than it is for them. It's for you to spend that time getting your confidence back, being an independent person again, going out with friends. I even tell folks, and some of them get really sad about this, you have to go on at least 2 dates during that time.
You have to.
You have to. You have to, they can be really casual, nothing too serious, but just get out there, remember, hey, you're an attractive person, with something to kind of give people from there. And then after those 30 days are over, we start bringing them through a sequence of texts that are designed to get your ex to pay attention to you again. And also, one really interesting thing, when we do the 30 days no contact, we get so many emails and Facebook posts from men and from women saying, hey, Mike, I did the 30 days no contact, I stopped talking to my ex, and now they're texting me all the time.
Oh, right? Because, the thrill of the chase.
It's always human nature. If you run, people chase.
Yeah, no, but then at the same time, when you don't talk to your ex for 30 days, what do you then text? What should be your first
Your first text is what we call an across-the-bow text. And it's not like a, hey, I really miss you, can we get back together, right? As I always say, confidence is sexy and neediness is the opposite of attraction, right? If you come across as needy, people are like, I don't like that. So this thing called an across-the-bow text is a really casual, confident text, something along the lines of, hey, I saw this really great movie today and it made me think of you, hope you're doing well. And that's it. Right? I saw whatever, a movie that you might like, or hey, wasn't that, that football game last night?
But if it's a text like that, it's like, And it's it's just a statement.
Done.
You're not waiting for a reply, and you're giving the other person a chance to either reply or not reply.
But you're not like desperately looking for a reply, right? You're basically just giving them an open, saying, hey, I'm here and I'm okay.
Right.
And especially if they're used to getting, I don't know, the text terrorism stuff that people do, where it's like, how dare you? Why won't you talk to me? We need to talk about our relationship 14,000 times at the same time. That stuff never works, right?
Okay.
But it's projecting confidence, it's projecting not neediness, it's projecting that you're moving on with your life.
Exactly.
Right? And the way to get somebody back is to let them go, right? If you're desperately trying to hold on to them, what are they going to do? They're going to try to run. It's going to go from there.
Is it possible, too, that you can be waiting too long? Maybe some people, you know, more than 30 days already, more than 2 months, more than 3 months. And also because sometimes you find yourself just not thinking about them anymore.
Sure, great. We have a lot of people that go through Text or X back and then come back to us and say, hey, Mike, you know what? I did your program and realized I didn't want them back.
Right.
And I consider that a success because that just means you're moving on. You're not in that really horrible place of pain again.
Right.
Yeah.
But before we finish, I'm sorry, this is too short. We definitely need a full show. But then at the same time, this is a new concept that you're introducing to us because we've always been taught that technology really makes communication not very personal. But you're saying that with simple text messages, you can create
a bond, and you can control what you're saying, so you're not coming across. You know, you get on the phone and you're like trying to think 1,000 things at the same time, and you're desperate. With texting, you can think about what you're going to do. And people often look at texting, particularly as like a tool for an affair or for bringing people apart in some way, right? But it doesn't have to be that way. You can use that same technology to create a private world between you and this other person, whether you're still in a relationship or you wish to be in a relationship or you broke up and you want something back. Nobody else is seeing those texts but you. You're never going to show anybody your cell phone and say, hey, go through all my texts.
Right.
So it's a very private thing. I call it digital telepathy in a way. You know, it's the closest thing we've got to that. And we've had thousands of people who have used our programs, both Text Your Ex Back and Text the Romance Back and our other stuff, to have much more effective relationships.
And I like that when you're texting, you actually give the other person, even yourself, with a reply. You read it, you ingest, you internalize it, and then you can think of a plan on
and you can take
how
your
to
time.
respond.
And one quick tip, by the way, for people that want to use this kind of stuff, if you're trying to get your ex back, the way you do that, you send the text that we talk about in Text Your Ex Back. It's at textyourexback.com. And you are always the one to end the conversation, right? You never let them have the last word. You just, or if they say something else like, "Hey, bye," that's fine. But you're always the one when even if you have a pretty intimate conversation, you say, "Hey, I got to go. Talk to you soon," and that's it. And you close it off, and that gives you essentially the power in the relationship as you guide things back to what you want it to be.
Very interesting. Now, what if the guy and the girl are both watching this? That now they'll have the power struggle.
They may have the power struggle, but if they're both using it, what does that mean? It means they both want each other back.
Exactly. All right. Well, we'll have you back. I want you back here on the show. There's so many things to talk about.
I'll come back. It's fine.
Yes, and we'll talk about more things about relationships. It's so difficult to date in LA, they say. But thank you so much, and more power to you. Text Your Ex Back. Information on the screen. More power to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.